Hello and good morning, Mr. Ryan J.
Arrow?
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. What's going on in your little world? You still watching movies?
Yes, of course. It's actually been a busy week with movies.
Yes, it has. And the first one, Knock at the Cabin. I've been waiting for your reply on this one.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about this movie. First of all, I am a huge M. Night Shyamalan fan.
Yep.
I do love the man, even when he's not at his best. And there have been some hit or miss films of his, but I've always enjoyed them because one of my favorite things about M. Night Shyamalan is he has his own brand of filmmaking. You know, he's got his own style, and you always kind of look forward to a twist or some kind of supernatural or interesting, challenging theme or concept to go on. But he always pays it off with an explanation. You never leave the theater wondering what was going on. You find out everything you need to know by the time you leave, which I love.
What's really interesting about him is I always think of him as being one of the most judged directors, because it seems like his first movie was just unbelievable, but then after that it was like Judgment Day for everything for him.
Yeah, he did come out the gate very strong, and so there is a high standard that he's held against. But I think it's good, and it's kept him on his toes. You know, so not everything is going to be The Sixth Sense or Signs, but everything was still engaging. Like, you didn't want to turn any of his movies off halfway through. Maybe you would finish it and say, "Oh, I didn't like this twist as much as a previous one," or it turned out, why did they go in this direction when it could have gone in that direction and made it maybe even scarier? You know, so we always like that. I think the only film of his that was really problematic was Happening.
Oh, yeah, that was different. That was very good. That's the only way I can write that
Everything
one off.
else, even the other ones that I could, pick apart, I could be critical of, but I still really enjoyed seeing and talking about. But let's talk about Knock at the Cabin.
Please.
I think this is my favorite of his films, if not my favorite, my second favorite.
Wow. So what was it about it that you liked?
Well, I absolutely love the casting. I love the story, and I love that it's like Signs in the sense that it presents a spiritual dilemma. So it's a mystery and a thriller. I mean, there's a little bit of horror element in there, but very light. It was R-rated. They could have gone a lot heavier with that if they wanted to, but clearly didn't. And I just thought it was, I mean, every second of the way, I was not confused, but I was questioning what I believed, just as I think that couple was in the movie. And so I think that that's the point is, great escapism and storytelling is when you identify with and relate to characters. And I related to these people the entire film. Wow. And, went back and forth and felt like I put myself in their shoes. And that made the movie really, really fun. Of course, then it ends in a way that's very distinctive, and that's something you can discuss afterwards. So actually, I saw the film alone at a screening, and then I ended up talking to some strangers afterwards because I needed to talk to somebody who'd seen it. So I walked up to some other people that were at the screening, and that was a fun experience.
I love it when you can get the perspective of somebody who does not do what it is that we do, and because they see things that we didn't, or they'll sit there and go, "Oh wow, I didn't even notice that in the movie."
Definitely. Did you see this one?
I did not. My wife was at the premiere, but I did not. But I saw 80 for Brady, though.
Oh, what'd you think of that?
I was entertained. It was everything that I wanted. It's to me, everything goes back to the movie 9 to 5. To me, it's just a continuation of it all. I mean, it was missing Dolly, but it was just 9 to 5.
Totally. It does have shades of that kind of madcap comedy. And you're right. I love these women. I mean, Rita Moreno and Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Sally Field, they all look wonderful. They all are performing. They're icons. They're phenomenal. I loved them in it. Even when it was cheesy or the script was really bad, they're still all just so fantastic and lovable that part is nice. I did laugh a few times. There's, of course, some age-appropriate humor. Yeah. But it's really like their characters are so well-defined and carved out. They're almost like Sex and the City archetypes. But it's like Sex and the City meets The Golden Girls, and then it's just kind of like a football movie for old chicks. I'm kidding. But do you know what I mean? Like, here's what didn't work for me. It was actually the football part, because although Tom Brady, produced this, there was some problems with the editing and the script, specifically where they had to spend time giving close-ups to each of the four ladies equally, getting their reactions that actually slowed the film down to be like, got to see Sally, now we got to see Jane, now we got to see how Lily reacts. But wait, we got to get a reaction shot from Rita in there. Yeah, and now we go back to the action. And it's like, that was very awkward to me. Also, It just was so predictable. And, usually I'm not a football fan, but I love sports movies because in spite of my lack of enthusiasm for the industry, sports movies and the storytelling, you're so invested in the game and the characters that you get very roused. And I usually love sports movies. But I thought the weakest part of this film, which was arguably as much a football movie as it is a comedy, the football part was really boring to me because I wasn't invested in the game or really cared who won or the outcome or knew any of the players aside from Tom Brady and maybe one other. And so that part of the movie went on way too long for me, and I thought that really dragged and brought it down. But for all these reasons, I still enjoyed it. But for those reasons, I'm recommending to stream it instead of going to see it in the theater.
There you go. I was talking about a little bit earlier, like on the Knock at the Cabin, about how you and I see things on the screen. And there's a scene inside 80 for Brady that I caught that people around me did not. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll set it up. While she was eating wings, something happens while she eats wings, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I knew it was going to be a twist in the story, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, very predictable, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I just didn't think it was going to be that obvious.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So now, what is spoiler alert? I saw that, and I'm going, is he going to give me a spoiler alert? Is this the name of a movie? What is Ryan J up to?
You're funny.
Is there a spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Spoiler Alert is a film that's adapted from a book called Spoiler Alert, The Hero Dies, written by entertainment journalist Michael Ausiello. And he is an entertainment journalist who then worked many years at TV Guide, had his own column. Then he worked for Entertainment Weekly. Then he is the creator of TV Line. And so he's a very successful entertainment writer and journalist. And this book that he wrote is about his 13-year relationship with his husband, who passed away of cancer. And so it's that's the spoiler alert, is going in that it's a love story with cancer and not a happy ending. So that's why it's called spoiler alert. I wouldn't normally give that away, but that's literally the whole point, and the title of the film is to kind of know that. But what you don't know going in is the whole story, and the story really is very, very, very good in the sense that, like, I found it universally relatable, that whether you can personally identify with who these gentlemen are. And by the way, the gentlemen are played by Jim Parsons and Ben Aldridge. And
Really?
Ben Aldridge is also the star of Knock at the Cabin opposite Jonathan Graff. And Ben Aldridge's mom, in spoiler alert, is played by Sally Field. So it's a very incestuous casting today in these three movies, right? Like, they're all in each movie. Makes it kind of fun today. But Ben and Jim are phenomenal, and I thought that their relationship was really good, but also just the ups and downs and complications of their lives. And it's was a very fun, nice watch, and then heartbreaking in the end. Like, you will cry. This is tearjerkers. This is for the people who like sad movies.
Yeah.
And it's streaming today on Peacock.
Wow. Hey, I got to give an update. Last week we were talking about Knocked Up Wedding. Is that what it's called with J-Lo?
Yep.
Yeah, it was Shotgun Wedding, and
Yep.
I saw it, dude, and I totally agree with you all the way through. I mean, I was very entertained.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the more this movie went on, the more beautiful she became.
Right? It's like, yeah, he's getting all like cut up and banged up and sooty and dirty, and you literally see like grease streaks on his face and stuff, and she's getting hotter and hotter hotter, and her lipstick is still on, and like not a smudge. And I kind of love that for J-Lo. I'm kind of like, you know what? Because as you want some things to look realistic in a movie, but J-Lo is never going to look anything less than, goddess like. So there you go.
Yeah, unlike Jane Fonda, who I was shocked when we got to see her without her wig on and got to see a more real Jane Fonda. I mean, I was like, boy, that took some guts.
Well, I mean, I think Jane is an actor that J-Lo hasn't reached levels of yet. Number one. Number two, Jane also personally went through, I think, a cancer experience.
Yes.
To play a character that is a cancer survivor, with wigs and the rest of it, it's interesting to to see her deal with that way too.
That was the subject of so many conversations after the movie that we looked at it as being a great moment where she is saluting those who are challenged and who have found victory over cancer.
That's her thing, is like she doesn't care if they look good or not. She just has a ton of them and she's having fun with it. And, I'm good with that.
Yeah. So what's going on RyanJReviews.com, Mr.?
Nothing. Just looking forward to posting these up for everyone to see, and then heading into next week.
I love it. Cannot wait to talk with you, dude. I love it. And we've got the Oscars coming up very soon, too. And I can't wait to talk to you about that. Oh, my
God. I know that is coming up next month. Holy cow.
Will you be brilliant today, Kay?
All right, Arrow. Thanks so much for everything.